Hello. You are listening to the Carroll Connection with your host, Jared Carroll.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Carroll Connection. I am your host, Jared Carroll, here to bring you guys another great episode. I did want to take a chance to shout out last week's episode 82, with Kira Judd. She's going to school right now to become a attorney, and she wants to work with people who have disabilities to give them a fair chance. And we talked all about that, talked about her family dynamic, how she grew up in Ohio and made her journey over here. She was in a serious car accident where she injured her leg, and she talked about all those factors and how it really impacted her life. And it was a really great conversation. You can check that out at thecarrollconnection.simplecast.com. Also available Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the major listening platforms. So for today, I'm actually doing a completely new style of podcast. I'm actually bringing back old guests, and with me today for episode 83 is Andrew Brown and Jake Wickham. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
What's going on, buddy?
Good to have you guys. So Andrew was on episode 32, top 10 episode. Jake was on episode 14, also on the Quarantine Connection, probably my most tenured guest who's done a lot of podcasts with me. So I really do appreciate that. We're also cousins, obviously, if you guys have listened to any of the podcasts. So it's great to have both of these guys on. As you guys have listened to, I've done an episode with Eric Lazito and Kate Abrams, who've both been on the podcast twice. So it's going to be a little bit of kind of that, where these guys are going to kind of tell me what they've been up to since we've done our last episode. And then for the future of this podcast, I kind of want to start doing more topics too. So kind of our topic today that we're going to really talk about, because these two I've grown up with my entire life playing sports and everything. So we're going to talk about kind of like childhood memories and kind of like the importance of growing up with friends, playing sports, and kind of talk about like the impact that has on your mental health. And like if you were compared to like kids today who are very isolated through the pandemic and things like that. So, and we'll sprinkle probably some jokes and shit in there as we go. But we'll start with Andrew. Kind of tell me, and everyone that's listening, everything you've kind of been up to since the last episode, because there's been a lot.
Yeah. So I think the last time we were on together, I was still coaching at Seekonk High School. I'd gone through my first season with the Renegades. And over this past year, the Renegades went on to win another national championship. We were able to play at the NFL Hall of Fame Stadium, which was pretty cool. Mr. Kraft of the Patriots
Saw that.
gave us a flight on the Patriots private jet, which was pretty cool. I thought I was going to die at one point. We'll probably get into that later. And then I got my first college coaching gig, which was pretty cool experience. We just finished our season up not too long ago.
Oh yeah, and your team did fucking really well. Shout out UMass Dartmouth.
That's right. Shout out UMass Dartmouth.
Yeah, fucking alums. All of us, actually. That's actually kind of crazy. So, Jake, tell everyone what's been up since the last time you've been on the podcast, because you've been on a couple of times between the Quarantine Connection and episode 14, which was fucking, damn, that was like pre-pandemic, I think, maybe.
Yeah, it might have been.
Might have been right around there.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, but it's kind of going through the same thing. I mean, COVID hasn't really gone away. I'm still in that same industry. If anybody hasn't listened, the building materials industry. Everyone who has been looking for houses, upgrading house, to live at a new place, they know it's been a crazy, crazy business. Like, things are crazy difficult to get these days. It's way more expensive to fix up your house. And people are taking out a lot of big mortgages because the interest rates are so low. So business has been very good. And I've learned so much the past few months doing that. I've met a lot of good people. And it's been great to grow and develop new relationships through this crazy time. So I'm pretty fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, because I know a lot of people are not, getting into the industry. There's so many, people that are retiring out of it and not a lot of labor going in. So young work is very valuable, and, we'll see how it continues,
Yeah, I think the underrated thing about the entire pandemic is like the value that is placed on workers like yourselves. Like, a lot of people don't want to do that type of work anyways too, with a lot of the building industry, even just like selling the materials and stuff. And then obviously you get into the supply chain issues, like especially going into the holidays, like between everything that's going on, it is chaotic. And then you throw in a new variant, doesn't matter. I don't really care where you lie on COVID itself, but like obviously it's throwing a wrench into like the way we operate as society. And it's kind of crazy to see how much we've progressed since both you guys have been on, because it's been a lot of time since then. Both Jake's been, I think it's been almost 2 years, probably a year and a half maybe since like your original episode with Dylan. And then Andrew, it's been over a year because I think it was like September-ish when I had you on. So it's actually kind of crazy to see how much we've grown all together since then. Because now, hopefully, if you guys want to check it out, I'm going to try to upload the video of this on YouTube. I've upgraded all my setup. This is the first podcast that I've done with all my new equipment. And it's actually really exciting because, like, unfortunately, I ordered the tapestry with the cover art. So, like, it kind of looks kind of plain Jane in the background. I fucked up on that. Like, that's my fault. Oh, I didn't do it. There we go. That's not really what I was looking for either. There's more. There it is. So soundboard, like that's going to be interesting to kind of play with and see how that goes. I want to add new sounds and try to make it relevant to the podcast, because I'm trying to take this podcast to a new place, and I've really enjoyed the connections that I've made and be able to sit down with so many different people. And that's going to tie back to kind of like what we're talking about too. But Andrew, I want to go back to you, and I want to talk about how becoming a coach at the college level has like helped you kind of develop not only as a coach, but as a person, because you're coaching people who are relatively close to you in age. So that's actually a really interesting dynamic.
You know, it's funny because, you know, when I started at the high school level, I was young then too. I was 19 years old, and I was coaching kids that are 2 years younger than me. And one of the difficult things at that time was trying to build the difference between being friends and being a player to coach kind of relationship. And it's the same exact thing now, where I'm 24, and these, especially this year with the COVID super seniors, they're 22 years old. So I played with some of them, and you know, it's different, but at least with the college level, these kids have that maturity level to be like, all right, yeah, we're here to win. Like, you're here for a reason, you know, let's go. Like, of course we have our times where like we'll shoot the shit and we have a good time and we mess around, but it's really cool and honestly like honoring to see how much respect you get.
Yeah, I mean,
as a younger guy,
it's like I said, it's a very interesting dynamic because you really have to work through that and earn the respect of the players too, because they look at you and like, you kind of just look like me, like in the sense of like age wise and all that stuff. So to do that, and I think I'm assuming that obviously coaching for the Renegades has definitely helped you as a coach, period. Like, want to talk to me about that process with coaching them and like winning another national championship, kind of like that entire ride. For
sure. So I know both of you, so we all played football together, and both of you know Vernon.
Yes.
Coach Crawford. This past year, he's had a lot of medical issues going on, like his back is really messed up. So because of that, it was tough for him to make the ride to and from Boston every day. So a lot of that responsibility fell on me to kind of step in and make sure the offense is doing what they're supposed to. So it was a big step up for me because practices were run under my kind of helm. I was running the offenses. There were some games that he wasn't able to make. So like I was calling the offense for some of these big games and going against some of our biggest rivals of the year. And it's, you know, you kind of get fed to the wolves a little bit and you just learn on the fly. And honestly, that was the best experience I've had.
Yeah. Isn't Renegades is 3 times now? 3 times in a row?
3 years in a row. Yep.
That's fucking awesome. Shout out to the Boston Renegades. And I know part of your reason you've had a lot of success on like the podcast too with like is support from the Renegades. And like, I definitely want to give them the shout out because like that has helped you propel into like a top 10 episode, which is awesome. Man. Like I appreciate anyone that has listened on your side too. Cause like that's fucking awesome. Like shout
those
out to
women
them.
Are awesome.
They're fucking talented as fuck. Like it's like, could you talk about that dynamic? I don't know if we touched on it too much in the last podcast. I think we did a little bit, but like the difference in the play style too.
It's funny because with Vernon's offense, it was very similar to how we ran our offense in high school. With them, it's so funny because it's like some of them have been playing football for longer than we've been alive. Like I know a few of them are in their 50s and they're still playing football, and they started when they were in their 20s. So it's crazy to think of like how their play style started versus what we do now as an offense and what they're used to and experienced to. And the cool, like, not even cool, but like the amazing thing about them is they're so like willing to just accept whatever is on the table in front of them and take it and ride it and take it as far as it'll go.
No, it makes sense too with the play style too, to see that too. And that probably actually really helped a lot to see the two different like gameplay. Well, it's the same like playbook essentially, but like you're seeing it run by two different offenses and obviously two different genders when you're all women versus mostly men when you're talking about like high school level and college level. So that's really interesting. I want to turn this to Jake, and then we'll start diving into like kind of the main topic at hand. Obviously, if you don't feel comfortable talking about this, but like you recently got your gun license. I got my license to carry as well. Would you kind of like talk about like maybe whether it's the reasons or like, because I saw you shooting, and like, is that always something that you've been interested in? Like, is that something that you kind of just more got into recently because of like the pandemic? Like, what's kind of the motive behind that? Because I believe in the Second Amendment, and I definitely support the Second Amendment, and I want to make that clear because that's where I stand. But I thought that was really cool, and like, you got your license to carry after I did, but like you're way more motivated with it, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ever since I was a kid, I liked playing video games. I liked playing Call of Duty. I had Nerf guns in my house, and you guys have been trading shots with me for a while there.
Airsoft guns too.
Oh,
Yeah, then we went from Nerf guns to airsoft guns. We didn't really do BB guns or anything like that. I had a crossbow in high school.
That shit was dope.
It was fun.
That was fun.
So like I always liked shooting stuff. I liked war. I was big into history in high school. So I always liked guns for that reason, just because it was interesting. So I told myself like at some point I would get into it, but I just never really took the time and took the effort to invest in it. And I think that everyone kind of saw how crazy the last couple of years have been.
Yeah.
And, I don't need to get into political reasons of it. But
Yeah,
like,
that's fine.
You just, you never know if that's like a right that could be taken away. So I wanted to be preemptive and make sure that, let me get my fun in now. Let me get my guns now and have fun with it and train and know how to responsibly handle them. And it's turned into kind of a hobby for me. And people who have guns, they know it's pretty expensive right now. So I try not to go too often. Like there's times where you're like, I could do this every week. Like this is fun. But I try not to, spend too much on it. So yeah, I think guns are something that people need to understand a little bit more about. It's like if there's ever an incident where something bad happens, and people watching the news lately know that there's messed up stuff going on lately. So this is touchy of a subject.
Yeah.
There's been some shootings at schools and stuff like that, so it's been bad. There's 3 things that need to happen for a gun accident. It needs to be a gun, there needs to be ammo, and there needs to be a shooter. They have to have all 3 of those things. There needs to be a person involved, a gun, and ammo. So like you learn the gun safety. You don't pull an Alec Baldwin and point it at people. The guy tried to say that it was the gun. Like he's like, oh, I never pulled the trigger. Like it's a cowboy revolver. Like I call cap on that. I'm not gonna lie. Like
he said he didn't pull the trigger.
Dude,
I think he said that he didn't pull it, but didn't he? I'm pretty sure he had the gun in his hand. So I don't know how you don't pull it if it's in your hand.
Trigger doesn't pull itself.
So those old cowboy revolvers, you cannot. It's not a single action where you pull the trigger and the hammer goes back and hits the bullet. You have to cock the hammer back and then pull the trigger. So he had to have cocked the hammer back and then something, we'll say it wasn't his finger,
Allegedly.
pulled that trigger, and there's a bullet in the chamber. We don't have to get too deep into that, but
yeah, no, that's a whole different issue, and that there's definitely problems with that. Like, I mean, the fact that there was a loaded gun on the set, and that's the way they were doing that. That there's an issue with that. Like, we won't dive into that, but that goes into what you're saying though about like if people actually took the time to understand guns and themselves and took gun safety classes, like everyone wants to villainize them, and I understand like why. Like I do understand why, because it's a very sensitive topic, because people have lost lives to guns. Like so, like I get it. Like I do understand, but I definitely support the Second Amendment. I think that's a good amendment to have, considering the state of our not just our country but the world. I mean, we don't have to get political, and I really don't want to get political, but I just wanted to touch upon that because I think it's important to acknowledge. Because like throughout the podcast, I've always talked about passions and hobbies and things like that, and like I've seen that in you. You've always been really interested in guns and things like that, and just like that type of hobby, I should say. And I just wanted to like kind of highlight that because that's something that you've been doing actively recently, and that's kind of like something that I want to touch on between the two of you. But I now want to dive into kind of like the topic at hand, which is kind of like the importance of having childhood friends, having friends as you're growing up, playing sports, and all of those things. Because I mention it on almost every single podcast. If you guys listen consistently, the beginning is always like family dynamic. So I like to do that to kind of build the base. And then I always talk to people about whether most of the time it's sports. Sports are what bring us together. I mean, it's really what built all like our friendships. I mean, me and Jake are blood, so I mean that was kind of forced. Kind of regret that. I'm kidding.
Nah,
but
backyard baseball.
That was lit. The gray monster. So and obviously as we talk about this, it's a free thing. You guys can just kind of bounce off and like say whatever. But the fact that we just played football together was like such a bonding experience. I mean, look at us. I'm 26, you're 24, you're 24. Like 24, right? Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. I thought for some reason I'm like, yeah, but like, you guys are a year younger than me. Like I sometimes forget. Like I think you're 25, but like I forget you guys are like, I know you're in like June, so
it's like a year and 7 months.
Yeah, so I forget that sometimes. But that closeness in age and playing those sports were super valuable.
November 5th. How about you?
Don't put me on the spot like that. I'm not gonna do that.
I called him November 5th. What about you?
No, I'm not answering that. Like
I know his birthday. He doesn't know my birthday.
I don't even know my parents' birthday. Like don't put me on like that. Like
Let me guess. August 20th.
Close.
24th.
Nope.
Fuck. 18th.
You're getting warmer.
Fuck. What was it?
Thing is, I make sure people know my birthday. That's the difference. I make it a big deal.
Jordan 10.
Yes.
There you go.
Me and Jordan are a week apart.
Yeah, do you know his?
Jordan's the 3rd.
No, him.
It's June 14th.
No. 16th.
16th.
Nah.
18th.
Fuck.
Nah.
17th.
Lower.
12th.
13th.
Nah. Higher.
Oh, it's 11th. No.
15th.
Hey.
There we go.
Hey.
I make my birthday a big deal. Like I post about it. Maybe I hate when people talk about
It's my birthday month.
signs all that, but Scorpio season. But fuck y'all.
No.
Like let's talk about the value. Honestly, all of us growing up together, like we always went to Jake's house, and like the value of like being friends together. Like I could always remember like the treehouse, like all the fucking. I still have a video on I don't know if it's on my Instagram. It used to be on fucking Vine. Where
is it the airsoft video?
The airsoft video where you get shot.
Little cousin. Did you shoot him yet? What?
Yeah, I have to find the video. I'm pretty sure it's still. I think I archived it.
I gotta say, we pulled that one off though.
That was a great video.
That was one of them that was like top notch.
If if we could do that now and post it on TikTok, I think we would have got some views on that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think
either views are banned.
Probably banned the way things are going nowadays.
China.
This podcast is going off the hinges. We're here.
You figured that.
Yeah, no, I mean it was just kind of like shoot the shit. Like I didn't really like.
Oh, we're shooting the shit.
Yeah, we're shooting something.
I shot something today. Targets for legal reasons.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably like 2 people that listen to this podcast. So.
Yep. So we where did we first meet? I know Jared and I are cousins. Andrew, where did we first meet? Was it elementary school?
We
just
met
4th grade?
when you switched over to our elementary school.
So 4th grade, playing soccer in recess.
Yep. And I'll never forget, one of the first memories I have was, I'm obviously a diehard Giants fan. You're a Patriots fan.
This is 5th grade.
Yeah, we're moving up a year. This was like when we really started getting close.
Yeah.
Jake gave me a box of tissues before the Super Bowl when the Giants and the Patriots were playing each other. And
First time playing each other.
Right. And he was like, hey, you're going to need these this weekend. And I'll never forget. The Giants won the Super Bowl, and right away I went to my backpack and I put the box of tissues back in my backpack. I'm like, I'm going to get this motherfucker today. So he walked in and I was in class already, and I went, hey, you sure you don't need these again? And I think you took them and threw them back at me. And that was...
Probably. That first Super Bowl, I honestly, I cried on that one. Like, Plexico burst when he caught that. I was like, dude.
Bro, we watched that at my house together. We had the fucking Patriots ring cupcakes and everything. We were all together watching it. The parents were watching it in the big room. We were watching it in the side room.
I still can't believe we lost that Super Bowl.
And we're just like, dude, what? Like,
it was fucking holding penalty on that.
Stop it.
There was, dude. Watch the clip. You coach football. You know that was holding, dude. Like, there's no way he had that much time, dog. Like, there's no way. Like, he's not even mobile. Like,
is this the Tyree catch we're talking about?
Yes, the Tyree catch. You already knew what I was talking about before I even said it.
How can you forget that as a Giants fan?
Straight penalty, bro. Holding. I get it. Super Bowl, you don't want to throw the flag. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not, like, I don't, like, say they should redo it, but, like, it's like, I understand football. They're not going to call that in the big game. Like, they're going to let them play. Like, and I get that. It's just like, damn, like, that was a big fucking play. Like, to let them just play on. It did, I mean, it won them the Super Bowl.
That's right.
So yeah, they won the Super Bowl. It's whatever. We got over it. You know,
I didn't get over
Who cares? Six and
Still
and
a little
3.
hurt.
You know, he's still positive. Tom Brady, anyway. He's 7-3. But yeah, dude, like we met from that, and then
Got into Little League All Stars together.
So I played baseball in Riverside, Rhode Island. And then I switched over kind of the same time that I switched over to go to Seekonk schools. And I played baseball in North Seekonk. And I played with Jared actually my first year.
Evergreen. Was it Evergreen?
Evergreen, yeah. We had Jared Ashkar. Andrew Ashkar on our team. Did we have Eric Lazito on our team? Who did we have on that team?
No.
I'm trying to remember now.
I actually don't. But that team,
I know
we
Ashkar
were so
was
good
on
that
that
year,
team.
and then we lost in the play. We lost the last game of the season, and then I think the first round of the playoffs to the same team. Like,
Yeah.
they changed the pitching speed. I swear.
Yeah, right?
They had those pitching
system, the
machines.
machines.
Yeah, pitching
Yeah,
machines. Because
yeah,
our
yeah.
team used to tee off. Like we lost maybe like that one. We were like 14 and something. Like we were like, and now that we're here, the funny thing was with baseball was me and Jake always were pretty much on the same team for the most part. A lot of the stuff, and well, not all the time, but like
When?
Evergreen. So I won't say.
Yeah.
Well,
So we played farm together,
Did we play senior league together? Right.
senior league.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So there was a gap in the middle where there was some championships that you weren't involved in.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
That was the.
stay out of that one. This is between us.
Yo, I was gonna bring my Tony Seafood hat, but I forgot.
I think I have mine somewhere
Mine's
too.
in
I
my
still have the
fucking
trophy.
room.
I would've
that your
told you to
dad made
fucking
for
leave.
us.
I should have brought that shit.
I don't care. My last at bat in
Guys,
Little
we
League was a
both
home
brought
run
it.
off you guys, so I don't really care.
Ah,
Hang your hat on that one.
I
you know,
will,
we
I
were
mean-
champions. We have trophies.
You bought the team.
We didn't buy the team.
You guys bought the team.
we had Agostini build a stacked team.
bought the team.
Bought the team.
Bought
Dude,
draft
I didn't
picks.
bribe anybody. No one was
Imagine-
bribed.
But let,
Imagine buying draft picks.
let's
I
talk
had
about
kids on
that.
my
Like,
team that
time
wore
out.
their gloves on their hats.
No, we're not gonna get into that. Let's talk about that though. Like the value. Definitely scooting a little bit. I see you on the camera. Like I don't want to keep you too far out of it. But the value of like playing with friends though. Like how close that brought you guys though. Like that definitely like solidified you guys' relationship. Like I mean, it's kind of clearly obvious.
And that's how I met you. Is I think after one of the All-Star tournaments, I had come over, and you were there, and Jordan was there, and from there, like, we all just became wicked close.
Yeah, it was us three, Jordan, my brother. We had Ben Sawyer was kind of in the group, and then Ethan Lansdale.
Ethan.
That was kind of like the rotating group for the most part. And then obviously once you get to like high school, and then you throw girls and shit involved, and people go in and out, and like that's kind of life. But like
He said in and out, Cap.
just straight out. Then I don't know.
Nah, in and out. Burger?
Did you mean pause? Like is that what you meant?
Burger?
Burger?
In and out burger?
In-N-Out Burger.
Come on.
You knew what I meant by that.
I did. I'm fucking with
you're just playing with it.
Play it worse.
This is such an interesting podcast because this is like so different than like what I've ever done before. So like I'm kind of like interested in how people are gonna like receive this. But
It's a good one.
yeah, no, it's just kind of like shooting the shit. Like this is how podcasts are supposed to be. They're kind of just like free can't speak, free flowing. Thanks, Jake. But yeah, because I mean, the main goal of my podcast, like the main overarching thing, has always been like the positivity, the motivation, the mental health, and having such close friends definitely prevented me from going down dark paths and doing stupid shit. Having good friends, like our friend group, we always were playing like sports. We weren't really drinking and doing drugs. Like we were always together at your house, like swimming in the pool and shit like that. Like that stuff I think is missing from society. Like a lot of people don't go and hang out with their friends. It's like, hey, let's hop on Fortnite or fucking Call of Duty or Warzone type shit. Like it's not like how it used to be.
Yeah, little kids especially, you know, they're just distanced from each other. It's with technology, it's with a bunch of different things. I think that there's all these online platforms that kids just get lost in. There's less sports. Like I live right near the elementary school, so I still see some kids out there playing. They're all wearing their masks and everything. It's interesting to think of like how you grow up with like a fear of something that you don't know is out there. You know what I mean? Like a little kid doesn't know what what COVID is. So they're just like wearing the mask because you tell them to, and kids are pretty adaptive. But there's like a little bit of disconnect that develops with technology with not seeing facial expressions and learning that. Especially you think little babies, like babies feed off of your energy. Not that I have a kid, but like when they see your facial expressions, they will mirror that. I don't, as far as I know. They'll mirror your facial expressions, right? Like when you're smiling and laughing and you like make faces, the little babies make faces. So if they're wearing masks, or not the baby wearing a mask, but you're wearing a mask or whatever, like family members come over, like they don't know what's going on. They just see eyes. So there's like little things like that I think might affect kids growing up. Like there might be more emotional disconnect because of that. And that leads to them not understanding their own emotions enough, you know? And that's a lot of what your podcast is about, is like being true to your emotions. So, yeah, with technology too, like social media, all that, like people are less in tuned to reality and more in tune to their phone because it's just glued to their hip.
It's funny you say that because I work with fourth graders right now, and the kid that I specifically work with will tell me like, oh yeah, this person, I play Fortnite with them every single day. Like we go home and all we do is play Fortnite. We go to school and I'm like, oh, why don't you play with so-and-so? He's like, I don't know. It's like that face-to-face interaction with people is so skewed nowadays just because of how much access you have to talking through a keyboard or talking through a screen.
Yeah, that's weird.
The way society is now, it's like pushed. It almost, they want you to be virtual. Like it's almost incentivized in a lot of places. Like even like where I work right now, a lot of it's remote work. I mean, if we look at the landscape of like the corporate or like the 9-to-5 landscape, a lot of that is directed towards working from home. Like, and I'm a big supporter of it. I do like that. I think there is great benefits of it, but you definitely miss that face to face. And that's why I've always loved doing a podcast face to face, because if you do things virtual or by call,
it takes the personal aspect out of it.
Yeah,
real quick.
You miss the facial expressions. The tone of voice isn't as the same. The energy in the room is different. Like when you're actually there with someone, like there's a complete difference. And I understand why people have done virtual. Sometimes people just live in different places and all that stuff. And I'm definitely actually gonna creep into that now that I can record phone calls and stuff through this thing. And I have some friends in the UK and like Ireland and stuff through TikTok and shit. So like I'm going to hopefully incorporate them in the future episodes. But like for those examples, like technology is awesome, but for things like this, it's super important.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Like whether people like, I know some people that like the virtual aspect because you can do it wherever. But let's be honest. Like there is, in my opinion, 100% the most understanding that you can have of you and another person is in person. Like you can fully understand them, their mannerisms. You're sitting in front of them. You can read their facial expressions. There's no delay. There's no electrical, bad signal, bad, quality. You're right here. We're face to face. I can tell how you feel right now, and you're not going to get that virtually over the phone. That's for me. Like I'm always seeing customers, whether I'm driving and calling them on Zoom meetings. I enjoy the face-to-face because I want to build that relationship and get to know them better and know exactly what they mean when they say something. When we grew up, we're texting, and when someone sends you that text, you're like, well, what does that mean? Like, what do they mean by that? Are they sarcastic? Like, what are they saying?
Either that, or it's like if they don't respond in a certain amount of time, you're like, well, are they just ignoring me, or have they just not seen it yet, or like what's going on? And that's just like, it adds a whole nother aspect of like a friendship. Like,
yeah.
You don't.
And then I was going to feed off that. Like they also like look at it like the question marks, the number of letters in the hi, like the emojis used, like all that plays into people's personalities through text. And it's always misinterpreted how someone saying a certain thing. And one of my biggest things I always say is like, I'd rather have a serious conversation in person, because like if you're not having it in person, you're going to miss all of that. You're going to miss my tone. You're going to miss the expressions. Like you're not going to hear what I'm actually saying. Like if you typed up what we're saying on words, a lot of it's going to be missed. People aren't going to understand what we're really saying, and the mark's going to be missed. So trying to like bring it back to like our topic at hand, Jake, definitely scoot in too. I see you.
So watch the video.
Well, scoot in, like motherfucker. But
Carroll connection.
Carroll connection. Or I'm going to try. But tying that connection back into like what the whole point is this motherfucker is like so aimed at the camera, dude. Chill. Like
I'm scooting.
No, I get you.
You guys used to have those Razor scooters, The electric scooter?
Oh,
Remember that?
we did have the
Remember
electric
the
scooters.
electric scooter? I thought that was the coolest shit.
That shit was fire. Look at the shit now. They didn't they just drop I saw on I forget what IG account was it. They dropped the Tesla ATV for kids. It was like $1,900.
Yeah, this dude also made a flamethrower. He's like, yo, you definitely shouldn't buy it. People are gonna buy it.
Nah, yeah. I want to bring it back to what we're talking about with the connection aspect, tying to like childhood, like children growing up today. Because when I look at children growing today, I'm so glad that we grew up in the time we did. And obviously we didn't see a pandemic coming. So like that throws a huge wrench in it. So like I couldn't imagine growing up today, having to wear a mask like every day at school, seeing the teachers wear a mask, having to do classes remote. 'Cause doing that in college is different because you're kind of emotionally developed, your brain's already developed, and I enjoyed those. But there's a huge difference when you're a child doing those online classes. I know you have younger siblings. Have you talked to them about it, or have you heard through like your parents, like maybe if there's some struggles that they've experienced? I know your dad's a teacher, so like there's obviously that tie as well.
So, I mean, my older brother is pretty, he's pretty set with his group of friends that he had before the pandemic kind of started. But the younger ones, especially my 8-year-old brother, they were split into cohorts while COVID was happening. And it was so sad hearing him come home and he was like, yeah, I just sat on the bench at recess because all of my friends are in the other cohort and I can't even play with the kids in my class because if we get too close, we get yelled at by the recess aides. So it's like he's 8 years old and he can't even really experience like having a true friend. And it's so heartbreaking because that's all you want. And like you think about how you were at that age and it's like all you wanted to do was go outside and play with your friends. And like the one thing that you have that you look forward to every single day is just like no longer existent. And it's tough.
I don't want to say it this way, but I'm gonna. People need to look at the long-term effects of this. Like kids getting COVID versus kids having that social disconnect. Because like it's just been getting worse. Like there's just such a disconnect. And those psychological traumas don't go away. Like
they're subconscious for sure.
That's stuff that gets stuck in you and you don't know why you're freaking out and yelling at people when you're like 25, 30 years old. And it's like there's all that trauma that just got suppressed. And kids need that. They need that social, friendships and relationships. Like I loved playing in recess, dude. That was fun. Like I wasn't even a soccer player. I don't like soccer. I'm a football player, right? But I still would kick a ball, kick a ball. I like to catch it, but, kick it.
I like to kick it.
So, like, I get it, it's the biggest sport in the world, whatever. But it was fun just to play, And then if there's kids sitting there with masks on, they can't play with their friends. Like, how do you play soccer without being near other kids? You can't get the soccer ball from the other kid. Like, that's the whole point of the sport is bumping into each other, kicking the ball away from them, and kicking it into the goal.
That's another part
Sports.
I think I want to touch on too, since we all played sports, especially football. The fact that people lost a year of eligibility, especially like a lot of high school kids, and they made up some seasons and had shortened seasons. But
when you're a senior,
but that aspect too, like people lost sports seasons. Like I would be so devastated because like
draft year.
Football was my life. Like I always say that openly. Like that was my personality. Like unfortunately, it was like it wasn't the greatest thing, but like it taught me a lot of life lessons that I don't regret whatsoever. It taught me how to be disciplined, how to be a hard worker, how to be a good teammate, how to work well with others. Like there's so many valuable lessons that I gained from football
that you don't get from dubs in Fortnite. Keep going.
I mean it's debatable. I'm kidding, but like. That atmosphere, obviously, and you throw COVID and a pandemic and all that stuff, where you can't do these things and you can't meet with your coaches and you can't work out in the same weight room. So, like, to see that, like, and you coach football, so like, how do you see, like, obviously, you weren't coaching college before the pandemic, but like, can you see like kind of like that joy kind of come back that they're able to play like full seasons and actually play together?
Definitely. So like, I still had a little bit of connections with the high school team before I went to UMass. And those kids, I mean, they had a shortened spring season. That was the best that they could do. But even those kids, like, there were some kids that I knew that could have gone to a higher level other than D3, and like they had the talent to do it. They just didn't have that senior year to kind of solidify that film for them until it was time to send in your college applications. And with that, the biggest thing is, and I kind of experienced this a little bit at the college level this year, you have 5, 6, 7 COVID seniors coming back. So that's 5 chances for those seniors in high school to get a chance to go play that are no longer available because that kid is still at the college level. So, I mean, it obviously sucks for everyone involved, but those kids that are looking to go to a school that is going to benefit their entire life is put on pause because everyone has another opportunity when those seniors in high school have to move up. You know what I mean? Luckily, they were all given an opportunity to play, and they're making big names for themselves and getting playing time at the schools they're at. But it's just one of those things. It's like an added stress level that shouldn't happen, or you hate to see it happen for those younger kids.
Yeah, I think the underrated thing, like Jake was mentioning too, is the mental health of like these young kids during this pandemic. Like we're so worried about the health of the elderly and things like that, and that's definitely good. We should be doing that because this is a disease, or a virus that definitely is more serious for people who have a compromised immune systems, the elderly, things of that nature. But what we don't,
overweight kids that aren't exercising.
That too. But like the fact that we're not talking about mental health, like that, as someone who actively talks about mental health, who actively has gone to therapy, who actively promotes positive things to try to help your mental health, to help you become a better person, it's frustrating to see people just share stuff on social media and think that does something. Like it doesn't. Like have the conversations with people, especially if you're a parent or you're an uncle or you're a cousin to your cousin's like younger than you. Like having those conversations and seeing those people, like that's what makes the difference in people's lives. And I think, was it November that was Men's Mental Health?
Yep.
Am I correct?
Yeah,
I think it was, right? See, but the thing is, we don't even know. Like everyone was like kind of like blowing it over, but the men, I forget the statistic, but it's like majority of the suicide rate is because of a lot of men. And like, because we don't talk about our feelings, we don't talk about our emotions, and like that stems from childhood too, going all the way up, how we're raised and things like that. We're raised to be stoic, to man up, and like I think those are good things. I think they're benefits to how we are today, but I wish that we were taught how to like better express what we're feeling in a way that's not going to harm other people. Because as men, we're just told to suck it up, bottle it up. And then one day, I think a lot of us have experienced this, and I think this goes for any human being, you will, to a certain degree, explode. And like your emotions come out and you have a really bad day and you get angry and you might lash on someone, whether it's a friend, family, a loved one. Like it happens. So to actually open that dialogue, and I'm glad that we've been able to like dive into this in this podcast, because obviously we started out with jokes and all that stuff and catching up on bullshit. And that's usually how these podcasts go. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and, with playing sports, growing up, one of the best things for my mental health was tasting 3 championships in a row with this dude right here. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Little League, 3-time champions. We've only played 3 years. We won every single year, all right? So Jared didn't get to taste that, That's probably why he's a little sad now, but, it was just championships, We got to taste what hard work is.
How does it feel to be a loser?
Damn, he already knows he's a loser.
Damn.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Damn, you guys are on my podcast and just insulting me, like, straight up.
Nah, he's a great guy. I've looked up to him a lot in my life, but, like...
Look down to me.
There was
I can make that joke.
There was many years where Jared was taller than me, all right? And I'm only 4 inches.
2.
Nah, it was like till we were like 13. That doesn't matter. What I learned from Jared, and I'll throw out some names here too, playing football with these guys, kids like Jarrett and Jesse Archambault. Shout out to those dudes. We would have summer camp weightlifting sessions, and these dudes would get up at like 5 a.m. to have weightlifting at the high school.
That's how I started.
And that's stuff you learn from sports about hard work, because these dudes would show you how to work hard. They'd get up bright and early and work out. I'd get there with these guys and I'm like dead. Like, I'm like, no breakfast? Like, this sucks. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, we don't have to do this.
Coming in as freshmen, barely being able to lift the bar. I don't know about you, but that was me.
Yeah, we were.
No, that's almost like everyone when you start lifting weights. Period. Like people underrate like the like what it's like to move your body like that, because they're not natural movements a lot of the time. Like you're training specific muscles and stuff like that. So a lot of us haven't done those movements. And to go off what you just said, those morning workouts, I actually started 2 weeks ago, starting doing 5:30 workouts again. And like the last 2 weeks, and like I picked now to do it because the holiday season is the hardest time to do that. Like I'm in the mindset of start now and don't push it off, because if you push it off, like you're just not going to do it. Like you're going to say, I'm going to do it the new year. I'm going to do it the new year. I'm going to do it the new year. And then the new year comes and you don't do it.
If you've ever been like a gym goer, you see that like the first 3 months after the new year, there's so many people there, and then it just drops off. And that's just all the people that say, oh yeah, new year, new me. Like I'm going to do this shit. And then they just quit. So I've never really liked the idea of like the whole New Year's resolution thing. Like if you want something, just go get it right now. Like,
facts. I'm a big believer on that. If you're going to actually make change, you do it now. Like you do it when you're not ready. Because like if you're going to plan, you're going to plan forever.
Something that's important to you shouldn't have to come from an excuse to do it.
I would have been at the gym, but I'm drinking and doing this with you now.
I already worked out this morning. I did cardio today.
No excuses.
I bought a stationary bike recently, and like that's because like I kind of banged up my knee playing football. It was like a couple months. It was hurting. So like I was kind of scared about it.
To the club.
Yeah, like I mean,
hungry, we devour.
It's aged. The age thing kind of like scares me. I'm like, damn, I'm kind of getting up there, and like I'm starting to have knee problems. Like it's probably from all the squats doing all these years. Finally
Dude,
getting
no
up.
Stretching, none.
Zero. Like I don't.
Stretches?
Who the fuck stretches, dude? Like stretching? What? But that's like actually super important.
Yeah, we did that in football like our whole lives. We just forgot about it for like,
who would have thought?
4 years.
Who would have thought? Not me. But like the whole concept of like just planning, like I'm just like I'd rather do it now, because if you can do it now, the hardest time of the year to diet, to work out, like when all you're eating is good food, you're doing the shopping, you're hanging with family and friends and reconnecting, like if I can be disciplined now, I can be disciplined whenever. And I started when I was in 8th grade with the Archambaults doing morning workouts with a couple other people, and that opened the door and showed me a new way. Like I'd probably be, obviously I'm a shorter dude, but like I'd be a small, like skinny bitch if I didn't work out. Like straight up, like I'm so glad that I was introduced to weightlifting, because it showed me like kind of like how to like battle within myself, and then to see others compete and then compete with each other as friends. And that's kind of been like the overarching topic of this podcast, is having those friendships early on and how it actually helps your mental health, and having those relationships working out early on is benefiting me even to today. Like I'm 26 years old and I'm making sure I do my morning workouts, because I feel a lot better when I do that, and I can control my diet, my food intake, and I think that's valuable.
Andrew was going to not play football in high school.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh man, we really got to get into that.
Yeah,
His
fucking
stepdad and I talked him into it.
Yeah, that was so. First of all, Jake was the reason I started playing football in 8th. Well, I
Slinger?
played.
You played in
I played when I was,
elementary
like,
school.
7
We were
years
Mighty
old.
Mites Junior. Yeah,
I was a left
Pee-wee.
tackle at 60 pounds. So
that wasn't your spot.
Yeah, you're right. And then I stopped playing. I went to soccer, and then once me and Jake really started being like really close friends, he went up to my mom. He's like, "Yeah, let Andrew play football." And this is after Jake had just snapped his arm in half, and he's like, "Yeah, I only broke my
fine.
arm. I'm good. I'm playing next year."
No big deal.
Sure enough, I went and I played football in 8th grade. And then I played freshman year, and my stepdad was the head coach. And
He broke his collarbone.
Yep, I broke my collarbone that year. And,
You're not gonna break anything.
and he made me play through it. That was the fun part about that.
Yeah, that was on him, bro. That was just a bad call.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like my buddy Ethan.
Do it again.
My buddy Ethan, his dad. This is just parents in general, right? Like the old school parents. I got rocked, right? I got a knee to the temple one game. And I go to the sideline, I'm like seeing stars, and his dad's like, "You're good, get back in there." I'm like, "All right, sure." I couldn't see straight, dude. So like parents, like they might not know 100% how you're feeling. They might think you're exaggerating and overthinking it. But yeah, this kid's collarbone was snapped.
Oh, yeah. That was fun. And then after that, I
Made him a better man.
Of course. And then and then you guys know we had a head coach change after my freshman year, your sophomore year, Jared. And that's when Coach Crawford came in, and I was like, well, what the hell? I'm a quarterback that can't throw the ball 20 yards.
I mean, I'm not gonna get into that. Like, not you, but like I think you know where I was gonna go with it. I'm not gonna go into that.
We're not going to go into that.
So I
He could catch, damn it.
So that, yeah.
I was a B Smitty fan.
Hey, you know what? Left side, baby.
Left side.
Left side.
Hey.
That's right.
Starters.
That's right. Yeah.
I played the right side.
Starters.
Not only did you
I
play
started.
the right side, do you remember that pearl I threw to you down the sideline? That
Ooh.
you
Are you talking about the one I fumbled?
Yeah.
You know, we forget about that junior year, right?
I could probably clip this into it, like him just fumbling if we have it on huddle.
So let me tell you, all right? Sports teach you how to get up after failing, all right?
And
you
then
might not
get
learn that from Fortnite
messed
because
up
you can
again.
just restart, all right? No. Senior year, I turned it around.
You did turn it around senior year. I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
for
I
that.
did. And I learned how to be a better man because of it, because I could take failure in the face and keep growing.
I love it.
That's what you learn from football.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's what you learned?
Yeah, I got hit and I kept going. You know? There was some screenplays where they would throw me a
I remember
screen.
that one time though you got hit and like you didn't get up right away and you started like, you know.
Are you talking about the practice?
Yeah,
on
the practice
tackling
day.
drills that
yeah.
day?
Okay, so we'll go into that. So, guys, we're talking about mental health, right? This is the epitome of mental health. So, we're doing hitting drills, right? Oklahoma shit. We're men, right? But I got hit in the head too many times growing up. I like to fall down the stairs when I was a kid. I just like walk to the stairs and just decide to throw myself over it. Hit my head a couple times on the way down. Anyway, so we're playing football. My sophomore year, Jared's junior year, and we're doing hitting drills before the season starts. So I go against Mike
Arguably
Ludi.
the hardest hitters on the team.
Mike
Back to
Ludi,
back.
who's a stud. The kid's like a brick shit house. And I believe he had the ball, and I go to tackle him. And I just take helmet to helmet contact. Pretty sure he ran right through me. I was like, all right, there's levels to this game, and I'm not there yet. So I'm like, all right, I get up. I'm just seeing the stars a little bit. They're like, all right, Jake, you got the ball now. Jared's going against you. So I go against Jared, and he puts his forehead right in my temple. So now I'm seeing stars twice as bad. So we get into more drills. We're getting into the cornerback drills of where you should be playing. And I just start crying. And the coach is like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't know.
I can't control my emotions.
I was like, I can't control my emotions. And he's like, get this dude off the field. So then Andrew walks me to the trainer's office. And he's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't know. So they have to like do concussion protocol, and it turns out I was not mentally sound. I had some
Severely
mental
concussed.
damage.
It wasn't because of the concussion though.
I had other things going on. No, I'm just kidding. Concussions are real.
Facts.
Mental health. You can get hit in the head, and it does hurt.
and make you cry.
And
Concussions actually can really impact your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Like can cause depression and shit like that.
I was a
They
bitch
don't
to
talk
begin
about
with.
that, though.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
Says it's good for mental health, and he's like, I was a bitch though, so fuck mental health.
No. So we got on this tangent because they just wanted to bring up that you can get hit in the head and it can affect your mental health, but it's about healing and it's about knowing like what affects you. Obviously, physical damage will affect you, but I was more cautious of that, more aware of it, wore better helmets, took better care of myself. You learn life lessons because of that, which sports helps you learn. If you're just playing video games, it's like, are you going to get hurt playing video games? Like, no. Playing
You lose
sports.
in a video game, you can just restart it and go all over again.
Yeah, like you die in Fortnite, you just, start a new game.
Or you get revived.
Or you can get rezzed. Yep.
Revive me.
I wasn't a Fortnite kid, all right?
He's
I
right there,
played
he's right there.
PUBG. I played
shot,
PUBG
bro.
like a
One
real
shot.
man. I played PUBG.
That
No
doesn't
one
make
cares.
you a real man.
No,
Makes you a bitch.
It's cool, all right? No, but like sports would teach you, the physical impacts of, I know I'm talking pretty loud.
no, I was just gonna mute you.
Yikes.
Yikes.
It would teach you the physical consequences of your actions, and you'd be playing with other kids, so you'd learn the effects of that. So, despite the concussions, there was times where I did not perform that well, and I would get mentally depressed and down on myself for not catching a ball. I was very mentally in my head,
As you should though.
as I should. I was playing against kids, and I'll give shout outs to them. Anthony Gilson, kid's a stud, and Chris Pereira, those kids, studs. So they were so good, and I'd be like, damn, like they're so good. What makes me good enough to play that position
We had athletes,
instead of
though.
them?
Yeah, we did.
These kids were good. So like I would get down on myself and I would drop passes and the coach would be like, dude, like you catch the ball every time in practice. What are you doing? So it would just bring me down. And then I just realized, like, I need to flip the switch. Like, it's got to be me. I got to step up. And that's when, like, my senior year, like, I turned it around and I started playing better. I had Andrew on the left side. Kid was catching every single ball. They had me on the right side if they wanted to look my way. Guess what? I caught that ball, all right? 18 yards per catch. What's up?
Was it really?
Yeah, dude.
Except when Andrew throws it to you, huh?
That was junior
40
year, right?
yards per catch. And I was.
Hey, it still counts, though, right?
That's right. Completion percent. Hey,
Yeah,
my,
that's facts.
my
It's a
stats
fumble,
are
though.
fine.
It's a
It's
fumble
your
on you,
stats
though.
we got to worry
Yeah,
about.
one fumble, you turned
Regardless,
it around.
the topic that we've kind of discussed in the podcast today is, though, friendships and the importance of them growing up. I mean, we're lifelong friends here. Like, we've grown up playing sports, growing up together. Like, that's so valuable, and, like, it's good for the mental health. I mean, you see it today with a lot of the kids growing up, and I really wanted to do this episode because I want to get these two guys here together with me, and, like, it's great to catch up with you because I don't think all of us have been in the same room for a fucking long-ass
Long
time.
time.
It's been a long time. So it's great to do this. It's great to catch up. I'm definitely getting the back end of the podcast, so I want to start wrapping things up. Andrew, do you have anything else you want to add or say? You can say whatever you want.
I'd say the biggest thing about your friendships and the people that are close to you is, like, value those friendships. Like, if you know those things are real, like, take them seriously, because I know we have all probably gone through times where we've had distractions that have almost pulled us away from serious friendships in life. And despite those kind of challenges that we face and things that will pull you apart, your friends are the ones that, like, won't steer you wrong in any way. And those are the ones that really look out for you. So, like, if you have someone close to you that, like, you really trust and you, like, they feel the same way about you, like, hold on to that, because that's the person that's going to, like, take you to the level that you want in life. And, like, they're going to push you to be the person that you want to be. And that's really important.
Yeah, I think that was really great to hit on. Jake, you got anything?
Yep, and I'll touch upon this. If there's anybody that's listening to this and was aware of some of the circumstances with me and Andrew, we were best buddies growing up for a long, long time, and there was some shaky patches in college. But the thing is exactly what he touched upon, is you're good friends. You know, you wish the best for them, you know? There's, like, some shit that might happen in life. You get taken down twisted paths. You learn different shit that, you know, you get put in circumstances that you didn't know how to handle. And there could be some, you know, ways that you rub each other the wrong way. But overall, I think that focusing on positively affecting people that have been positive in your life and being honest with them and caring about them and telling them exactly how you feel is important, you know? And if you fuck up, you have to own that fuck up, because none of us are perfect, right? But we need to just get to that level playing field where we understand each other fully and we're not afraid to be honest with each other, because we get one life on this earth, you know? And I'm not the type to just die and not say exactly how I feel. You know, I want to make sure that we're not burning bridges that we truly, you know, care about. If there's positive things that happen in your life, you know, you need to grasp the positive and learn from the negative. So me and Andrew are friends again. If anybody knows that story or heard any bit of that story, we're friends again. So you can come back from shit.
Yeah.
Jared?
Perfect. I think that was a perfect way to end the podcast. I appreciate you boys coming on this. I know this is kind of a little bit more intimidating than the first time you guys have been on, since I got a whole different setup, new mics, new setup, new lights. So it's kind of big time now, and, like, I'm really excited to. I don't even think you were here when I had a camera. I think I just got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, this is new. So this is a whole new experience,
Live
whole new
from
vibe.
Seekonk.
Yeah, we're trying this out, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast. It's a little different than normal Carroll Connection episode, and I hope to do kind of more of these. I really enjoy having multiple guests and having multiple opinions at once. So if you guys like the podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. Check it out, thecarrollconnection.simplecast.com. Also available Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the major listening platforms. So until next time, guys, peace.